Well, we're back, folks, on the 104 Extreme Uphill Challenge, and today we have got the high bike X0 all-mountain 150mm travel with the mighty TQ motor. Will it be able to break the 104 time? The 104 Power Stage is an extremely technical climb that really explores the limits of just what is possible on an e-bike. Slick limestone outcrops and steep route sections make it the ultimate test for rider and bike. He's totally it. Against such a challenging backdrop, we set out to discover how each of the key e-bike motors can cope with such a climb, and in doing so explore their character, functions, and of course performance. Now, just in case you might be wondering about the relevance of the number 104, well, 1 minute and 4 seconds is the fastest time recorded so far by a rider on an e-bike on this particular hill, and the time we're trying to beat by way of using a variety of all the main motor brands. With 120 Nm, the TQ HPR 120s is without question one of the strongest eMTB motors on the market. And even though it has been around since 2012, only a few brands have really managed to harness this motor to its full potential. The motor really caught people's imagination when the high bike Flyon stole the show at Eurobike in 2019 with its futuristic design. Clean lines, lights, and of course the mighty TQ motor being at the very heart of a bold and striking silhouette that nobody saw coming. In many ways, the Flyon is like no other, featuring displays, remotes, batteries and speed sensors. The TQ have worked in collaboration with High-Bike. At 3.9 kilos though, the TQ is significantly heavier than many of the main eMTB motor manufacturers, and with all that power, needs a big fuel tank to keep it rolling. This means that bikes such as the Flyon are heading on for 30 kilos in weight. So what about performance? On smoother tracks, this motor really has a monster amount of grunt and can easily sit at the 25 km/h limiter, even on really steep terrain. But the 104 isn't smooth, but it is steep, and the bike factors as much as the motor in certain sections. In this respect, the 470mm chainstay will certainly not hold back this bike. In the higher power modes, the TQ offers a load of grunt even at low cadences, but you still need to be very careful to keep the flow smooth. So whilst we know it's fast uphill, how fast will it be in very technical terrain? Right, now before I do my timed runs, I always go and check the hill out to see if there's any material. As you can see here, there's a bit of stick falling down. When it comes to line choice, as you can see here, there's a little bit of a groove. There's a right-hand line here. So the right-hand line is possibly a bit flatter and smoother. However, this is the more direct approach. But the danger here is to get your front wheel deflected into this part of the rock, which will really put you offline. So you're talking about, you basically got a tyre's width through there to get you up. And remember, if you get your back wheel there, your front wheel will probably collide with this one. And that is on 5 feet of the track. And it's like this for about 100 meters. Sorry to mix feet and meters there. Now, because the gradient is simply so steep on this hill, there's often the temptation to meander slightly to get your breath back. However, the direct route is definitely the quickest. And on the high bike, I've just been doing a few practice runs. You can simply straight line everything. So I'm pretty confident this bike is going to have a fast time.
Now this thing is an engineering work of art. I don't know if you've seen inside it, but go and check out their website. It's got cycloidal reduction gear inside, which is absolutely gorgeous. Now this thing produces 120 Nm of torque. They don't publish any power figures though. but we know from people like Bosch and Shimano that their power figures are peaking out about 550, 600 watts to stay within the 250 watt average over the 30-minute cycle that the regulations require. So to use that 120 newton meters of torque, TQ are going to be putting out power at lower cadences. Now, as we know, actually controlling that power is what really matters, and that's down to the software. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this performs when you get it actually out on the hill. Is it going to be too much power? Is it going to be too jerky? Has it got enough control in it? So yeah, I'm really going to be interested to see how you get on with this one, Steve.
The beast, and it is a beast. The high bike X0 all mountain, 150mm travel, 29-inch wheel up front, 27.5 on the rear. As ever, the Maxxis Minion DHR2 is ever present there with 28 PSI, as it has been on the other challenges. Now, the big thing about this bike is the torque. 120 newton meters means it's one of the most powerful e-mountain bikes in the market. So, you know, it's really quite interesting because some people like a minimalist cockpit, but it's cool when you're doing an extreme hill climb and you might have time to look at some of the detail. You can see here, you got your cadence, you got the rider power in watts, and also got the motor power in watts. And I think that's really interesting. Obviously, it might not be quite as interesting when my heart's going through the roof, but nevertheless, the information on this bike is absolutely insane. I'm going to stick it in extreme mode and see if we can smash that 104 time. Right, okay. The first of many runs, and I have to say I am feeling good on this. 120 newton meters of torque. I can see how much power I'm going to be putting out, plus the power of the motor. So here we go, Josh. I think I'm really confident this could be the one. Count me in. Wow, fast, that is fast. And we did achieve what we set out to achieve by breaking the 104 time on this particular bike. But I guess you need to think about torque, battery as a complete package, because increased torque does come at the cost of more battery usage. But nevertheless, I think for maybe heavier people or people who want extreme power, what a fantastic motor. I could look at my lines, I could pick my lines, my heart rate was lower, a totally different experience to riding lots of the lesser powered e-mountain bikes. And at the end of the day, they're all great fun. The Fly-On can really make light work of even the toughest terrain. And yet, even though it is by far the most powerful motor to date on this challenge, it didn't quite beat the Levo. It leaves us pondering how much bike weight plays a part, and the fact that the Levo is significantly lighter than the Fly-On. The heart rate was certainly lower, but the time slightly longer. Or maybe that light lunch wasn't quite so light after all.